$18 million, though, Junior. Hey, I don't know. That seems a little stiff. All right. Hit the like button. It is a tough conversation because how important is he to Vic's defense? Let's bring in Big Z here. Big Z.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Nice day out in Philly, man. It's getting warm out here in Philly, brother.
It's getting warm around as we get closer to the draft, too, and also some decisions on Jordan Davis.
Yeah, man. You kind of convinced me in your opening segment on him.
Do you see where I'm going with it, though?
Absolutely.
If you don't have a nose, Zander, you can't play that 34. It's just you can't. But how much is that worth to Vic?
Well,
how much is that worth to Howie?
The money. I mean, that the predicament I think comes from the money because John brought up 18 million, and I'm with him. Like that sounds high to me, but that's kind of how NFL guys are paid. I mean, Vita Vea is making 17.7. I don't think Jordan Davis's agent is going to come in and say, "Oh, you just give me 10." I mean, he's not going to do that. So, the money is the problem for me because I value the player. But I don't know if they're going to be able to pay everybody and Jordan Davis 18 million. I mean, where do you rank him in importance? You're going to have to pay Jalen Carter. You already paid Bond. You're going to have to pay Quinion and Cooper. You're going to pay Reed Blankenship coming up. I mean, there's all sorts of spots on that defense you got to pay, and that's where I wonder if he gets booted out. But from a football standpoint, you made a lot of sense in your opening segment today about why he's so valuable to that defense, even if it's only 20 snaps a game, So it's a tough decision on him for sure.
Do you agree if the Eagles take a 32 draft pick and make it a DT, he's out? And what I mean by that is because then you get that player on a rookie deal, you extend him on the 12, a lot better than 18 to 20 million. Like you said, that agent's going to want a high-end money.
Yeah.
Don't you think if they draft a defensive tackle down there at 32, you're hedging your bets by doing this? I get a guy in a rookie contract, and there's my heir apparent. If we can't work a decent deal out with him, that's less than the 18 million that people are kind of throwing out there right now.
Well, it depends who you draft, right? I mean, if you draft Walter Nolan, who I love, by the way, and who's a great player, but what does that fix? That replaces Moro Jomo and Milton Williams. That doesn't really replace Jordan Davis. It doesn't. I mean, there's not many. That's the one thing that's hard with Jordan Davis is he's not that easy to replace. Even though he's only playing 20 snaps, or 20 snaps, you can't get that many players who can play the nose and the shade and that 1-2 technique. I said to John, I'm like, I want him to play a little more 3 technique. John almost laughed me off the screen. He's like, what do you mean you want him to play 3 technique? He's not playing 3 technique. And I'm like, well, how are we going to give him $18 million if he can't fucking do anything other than play nose? But I don't say that meaning it's not valuable. It's just hard to justify how the hell you're going to pay a guy that only plays this many snaps. But in the flip side, the thing that really got me is like, congratulations, you're the Dallas Cowboys. You can't stop the run. And if you can't stop the run, you're toast.
That's right.
So what are we talking about here? He might be more valuable than meets the eye.
That's exactly why I last night went back and watched it. And you make the point, okay, he can't play a 3 technique, but you know what he allows you to do? He allows you to be a nickel because they win first and second down. Okay? When you are how many series did Kansas City have in the Super Bowl where they were 3rd and long? Dude, without that, and you went winning first and second down, you're Javon Hargrave again. You're down in the 20s, 17s against the run. What was more beneficial to the Eagles winning a Super Bowl? 11 sacks by Hargrave or a guy who was instrumental in the run defense that won you the Super Bowl and was the catalyst in that game? The 11 sacks, Zander, meant shit at the end of the day. Stopping the run and stopping Kansas City and keeping them in 3rd and long and allowing those linebackers to play the way they did, wasn't that more value to Vic's defense than what Hargrave brought?
Yeah, I mean, you could easily make that argument. I mean, it all falls apart. Everybody knows. I mean, this is the first thing you learn about football. Run the ball and stop the run. If you can't, if you can't do those two things, you're not going to win very many football games. And to our credit, the Eagles were one of the best against the run last year, and we're one of the best at running the ball. And we ended up with a Super Bowl. So, maybe from that perspective, you look at it and say, shit, Jordan Davis is more valuable than Milton Williams. He's more valuable than, anybody on that D line outside of Jalen Carter, because he's the one who brings, the other thing that Jordan Davis allows is he allows the linebackers to be great. He's the reason that Zach Bond makes so many tackles, because he's eating up all the guys in the D line.
And paid. And paid.
Oh, yeah, and paid for sure. I didn't hear what you said. But no, I mean, he's tough, but the only thing that really stops me with him is the money. And it's not about, I'm not trying to be a pocket counter. I know people always go to that. I'm not that guy. Believe me. I want everybody to get paid the maximum amount of money they can. I think that's the greatest thing.
You're looking at common sense, though.
How are you going to pay Carter, Quinion?
They're not going to go 40 and 20. They're not going to go 40 and 20.
No, they're not. Dude, $60 million on 2 defensive tackles, and one of them can only play 25% of the snaps. And the other thing is it's a catch-22. Me and John were talking about this morning as well. If we want Jordan Davis to play better, right, or play – no, forget better. If we want him to play more snaps, that basically means that your defense has to stink, because he's going to have to be out there for more first downs. If you're getting to more third downs, Jordan Davis is going to play better, but his snaps are going to go down. So for all the people like me who are like, how are you going to pay him 18? You need more snaps. You're basically saying if he can't play 3 technique, you need the entire defense to play worse so that Jordan Davis can be on the field more. It doesn't make sense.
If he plays more reps, your defense is down in the 20s. If he plays less, your defense is in the top 10.
Right. And I don't know if you remember this. You were one of the first people to say that about Jordan Davis. You said this last year, that if he plays less, he will play better. And that's exactly what happened this year. It's exactly what happened.
I want to go to this topic now. By the way, we'll read all your supers, I promise, at the end of the segment here. I was reminded something, and I'm going to get Jimmy Johnson on in the next couple days here, and Dave Wannstedt as well, owner of 3 Super Bowl rings. I asked him about all these free agents you guys are bringing in. You know what Jimmy said to me? Don't you remember what I did? I said, what? He goes, I drafted everybody, and I brought in 25 free agents, and I created competition for my younger players, for them to be able to beat out, and for us to know where they were in the building, and for us to know, if you can't beat this kid out, who's damaged goods and has nicks on the fender, then that kid is not where we need to be in the draft. We need a better player. What Howie is doing is these guys are going to create competition at positions.
Yeah.
Where you have every young player at, where you have a question mark at. Christian McCollum at corner. I think you're going to address it probably in the draft. Your edge rushing room is clearly saying this. Jalix Hunt, Bryce Huff, and Nolan Smith. I want those 3 to be our 3-man rotation. Maybe one other guy, which will be our draft pick. If our guys can't beat these guys we bring in out, then guess what? We got a problem with the guy we took. So, again, it creates, because Jimmy did this, Zander. When he got there and they were 1-15. Now, it's a different position because you guys are defending Super Bowl champs. But what he did was he drafted all those great young players off the Herschel Walker deal, which ended up resulting in 3 Super Bowls.
Right.
He brought 25 guys in every Tuesday, and he signed about 5 of them. There were free agents everywhere on that roster, but he had a lot of young guys. All of a sudden, guys started winning positions. Tony Tolbert won a position. They got rid of all the ends that were free agents. They got Woodson in there. They started getting rid of all the safeties. Offensive line, they started getting rid of. Do you understand what they're trying to do here? Yeah. It makes sense to me. And what they're doing, they're creating competition with these players because they're going to self-evaluate. Maybe one of these players turns out to be a Zach Bond.
Yeah,
the Eagles didn't even know Zach Bond was going to be Zach Bond. And Vic told you numerous times they didn't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hit on gold, man. Okay.
Yeah,
but I think they're thinking more about the guys they draft.
Think about this too. I just thought of this a second ago. Think about this too with this defense right now. This is maybe the biggest theme of this defense this year. You just mentioned all the guys they brought in, all the 1-year guys, all the, the lottery ticket basically guys. One theme I see on this defense right now coming into this year, and it will be helped out by the contracts that Milton Williams just got, by the contract that Zach Bond got, and by the contract that Josh Sweat got. Almost every player on that defense, outside of Zach Bond, is playing with a bag of money dangling in their face right now. Think about it. Jalen Carter's playing for the biggest contract for a defensive tackle. Jordan Davis is playing for a contract. Nolan Smith playing for a contract. All these edge rusher 1-year guys, all of them are playing for a contract. Cooper and Quinion still playing for a contract. Reed Blankenship playing for a contract. Nakobe Dean playing for a contract. You look at this defense, every single guy has the chance to play great and cash out. Even if it's not in Philly, they can cash out anywhere in the league. So I wonder how much that helps this defense. You got a bunch of young, hungry, motivated dudes that have potential, 9-10-figure contracts on the other side of the year. I said, except for Bond, Takeem, that I don't know about these men, but that would motivate me to play pretty damn well.
Let me tell you how I see that, what you just said. Those players that you mentioned are playing for their NFL lives, not bags of money.
Bags of money and their NFL life, yep.
Okay, the guys who are playing for the bags of money are the rookies that you drafted, knowing that if I win my job, I'm going to get paid, because they're showing everyone right now they're clearing room for the young players. There's no question with the blowtorch you took to the defense, they have tremendous confidence in the young players that they've drafted, whether it's Tristan McCullum, Keely Ringo, or not. Those younger players are being pushed to the forefront by the organization, and those younger players know, if I start on this team come September, there's a chance that I'm going to be a guy who's going to be at the end of the day making a ton of money. These other guys that you brought in, man, this is like last hope opportunity for them.
Yeah.
This is like you're
fighting. Like, think about it, dude. Azeez Ojulari is 24. If he gets double-digit sack year this year in Philly, he's going to get paid big bucks.
If that guy doesn't make the team, what do you think his career is?
Oh, he's done. You're right. He's done. Probably done.
I mean, you're going to know. That's right. So think about this.
Yeah.
It's Super Bowl or bust for the guys you signed.
Yeah, it's true.
It was Super Bowl or bust for Zach Bond. Now, here, you lose Fred Johnson today. I got to tell you, Zander, my problem is not just the guys you lost in the front. Now you're starting to talk about the guys who made you great. And that is the fact that the war of attrition guys are now gone. Fred Johnson may not have been somebody you thought of. You put him in against Trey Hendrickson, and he stoned him.
Dude, he started 6 games last year. That's a big loss.
Okay? That is a war of attrition. When Mulata was down, you lose Isaiah. He was your swing corner. Burks was your swing backer who played great in the postseason. I don't think people realize that not only are you going to have to develop frontline starters, but who are these guys going to be behind them?
The depth. Last year they had depth, man. Yeah, that's a good point by you. I mean, all these guys. Now, the one thing I will say about this, and you're not wrong in that it's a question, but Zach Bond said something today that I don't think many people picked up on, but I picked up on it immediately. Zach Bond said something. I think it was the first question, literally the first or the second question. It might have been McMullen's question that he said this to, or Ed Kratz's, one or the other. And he said, why'd you want to come back to Philly? Why didn't you test the open market? And he said something about it being the process in place in Philly, what they have in-house that develops players more so than it is great players. He believes in everything they do here that makes players great. And I listened to that and I said, boy, Zach he probably really feels that way because of what this team did. But if you look at the Eagles front office, that's probably how they feel too. Yes. And remember, this goes back to the 2017 Super Bowl.
Yes.
This wasn't Doug Peterson. This was what we do. This isn't, Milton Williams. This is our process that's working for these young players. And I think to a degree, you can't go too far with that because great players are what make great coaches and great teams. But you get a guy, a marginal guy, or a guy that was good that isn't irreplaceable. Zach Baum is obviously they viewed as irreplaceable. I think that this organization believes that they have the processes in place to replace anybody. And it's hard to argue that they're wrong right now.
No.
It really is. I mean, you look at some of these guys here and the way they're,
coaches included,
coaches, everything. So I think they have that mentality, and I don't necessarily view that as a bad thing at all.
No, not when you have the results to prove it. I mean, it's one thing to have a theory like Jerry Jones does in Dallas, where you think you're doing the right thing and living off somebody else's success. The problem with the Cowboys, he lives off of Jimmy Johnson's success. You know how funny is that? I mean, the owner of the Eagles is a direct result of why the culture is the way it is because of the money that he spends and the autonomy he gives Howie. In Dallas, that guy believes that he can duplicate and replicate the shit that Jimmy did, when quite frankly, what's the one common denominator that Jerry Jones has never been able to replace has been how Jimmy ran the personnel side and how he ran his football team by allowing the guys to come in. Jimmy looked at everybody, but signed only guys he thought could fit into their system. It's never been – they've got 4 fucking playoffs. Do you know that the Bengals are more successful in the last 30 years than the Dallas Cowboys are? How can that be? The Bengals are more successful in the postseason than what the Dallas Cowboys are, and yet the Cowboys parade around like they're world champ. They are world champions in the offseason. They'll fucking let you think they know what they're doing, but once September comes, they revert back to the pumpkin.
Yeah, well,
that's exactly who they are.
Dude, let me tell you this. It's no longer fun to bash on Dallas. I'm not even kidding you. Look at this. Let me show you this graphic. I saw this today. Lord Brunson put this out on Twitter today. Look at this thing. Look, let me drop the graphic. NFC Championship droughts. Number of seasons since each NFC team made an appearance in the conference championship game. Look at Dallas. Look at Dallas. 29 seasons. The next closest is the Bears. They're the worst team in the conference.
That's
dude, they're not fun to rag on anymore.
How do you answer that?
You don't answer this. You are regular season warriors. It's not that fun anymore. Like regular season is cool and all, and we all enjoy it because there's only 17 games a year, but it's not that fun. Like I want to compete with first champions. I want to argue with champions. I want to go back and forth with Commanders and the Lions and the Niners and LA. The Cowboys are who cares? I don't even know if the Cowboys are going to be the Eagles' biggest rival moving forward because who the hell gives a shit?
Do you know what like the Cowboys remind me of? And I know that they had a good year this last year, but it's like Vanderbilt in the SEC. They're just like a Vandy team. Like I that is absurd. That the Cowboys have a bigger drought now. Do you know that in the first 29 years, the Dallas Cowboys won 6 Super Bowls. In the last 29 years, they haven't been to a conference title game.
It's crazy, man. It's ridiculous. Now, look, I know Twiz says 5 rings. Yeah, they'll tell you that they're 5. And look, you can't take away 5 rings. All right, that's good work. 5 rings, but
yeah, MySpace was important back when they won your last one.
Come on, man, you got to move forward a little bit with the times here. You got to win a modern one, but I don't know how like Jerry Jones does Jerry. I mean, I get a kick out of Jerry Jones because people love ragging on him. I love ragging on him. I get it. It's funny, but the guy's a genius businessman. He's turned to 4. He's worth $12-15 billion. Anybody worth that money, I'm sorry, hate to break it to you, is not that stupid. But I don't think he cares about football. I mean, how does he look at that and say, all right, we got to do something a little different when it comes to the football aspect of things? We haven't been to an NFC Championship game in damn near 30 years. The Bears were there 14 years ago.
You think he's content with the 3 rings?
I mean, maybe.
The growth of the brand?
Maybe because, he got his rings early and now all he cares about is boosting the brand. But at what point do you ask, doesn't winning boost my brand? Think about the Eagles. I mean, dude, And
You
I know
really
the
think
Eagles
a
fan base
Super
has always
Bowl?
been
I don't
strong.
think a Super Bowl is going to boost the brand of the Cowboys. They're the most
Dude,
expensive.
are you kidding me?
They're the #1 franchise now, and they haven't done shit in 30 years.
I know, but think about how much that would compound. Think about how many people would break out the Dallas Cowboys hat. It's like the Yankee hat, bro. It's iconic. It's the Yankee hat.
I think he looks at it and goes like this. Well, wait a minute. I haven't done shit in 40 and 30 years, and I'm the #1 brand in all of sports in the world.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. At some
Because his
point,
actions surely show it, don't they?
I know, but look, you're always going to grow. Your company, especially when you're a football owner, is always going to go up. I mean, when's the last time a football team, went down in value? I'm sorry,
Even the Jacks, that's not working. No.
It doesn't happen. Exactly. So you're going to go up, but is it the difference between going up $1 billion in the next 2 years or $4 billion? Like, I legitimately think the Cowboys would become a $20 billion organization if they were a Super Bowl winning team consistently, but they're not. They're not. I think he's hurting business, but again, I don't think he cares that much about football. I really don't. I think he's more infatuated by the headlines and stuff as an owner and as a billionaire and as a guy that loves the headline. But I wish they would be better at football. I think it would make for more fun commentary here on the show. I really mean that. I like, as much as, we hate our rivals and we want to see them suck, I like when teams are good. Like, how much more fun has it been talking to James Jones and the Commander fans this year? You guys are good. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
You got a quarterback. You got a team now. It's fun.
I like
the
great
Cowboys
games.
Suck. I don't even care anymore.
I like great games. I want to show you something here that, okay, and I'll tell you, I text him. I'm okay to say this. I got this from Dan Morgan on the top 10 picks that they have on they got like 50 boards, but on one of their boards, right. I go, just give me one of them. He goes, okay. He's got 3 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks. Jackson Dart. I'm like, the kid from Ole Miss? He goes, we got him going to New Orleans.
I'm not going to lie to you. Jackson Dart, a lot of people are out on him. If he goes to the perfect spot, which I don't think New Orleans is.
Kellen Moore?
I don't think that's it. I think Kellen needs a more established quarterback. Kellen's not in the developing game. We saw that last year. He didn't develop the passing game. It wasn't working. Yeah, that's true. Dak had a perfect skill set for Kellen, though. Think about it. He really does. He's got the perfect skill set for Kellen. Maybe. I'm just saying. I think Jackson Dart. I'm not saying he's going to be a good guy. Well, he might suck. I'm just saying he does have a couple of traits that I've seen where I'm like, maybe if the right coach gets their hands on him, they could do something with him. He can throw the ball downfield. He can throw a cross body. He can escape the pocket a little bit. I like it. The other guy I'm coming around on a little bit, and maybe this is what happens to every NFL team, what's happening to me. I'm starting to think Shadur Sanders could be a guy.
Get this. He's got him going to Cleveland with 2.
He's got Cam Ward going 1.
Yep.
And where was Dart going? 10?
9 to New Orleans.
9 to New Orleans.
They're going to move off of most likely Derek Carr because of the money. He's owed $35 million. That's coming up in the next month, I think it is.
Yeah, we'll see what they do here. See, I think Carr is a good fit for Kellen.
The money, though, remember, they're $62 million over the cap.
I know, but I mean, shit. We've all learned that's pretty much fake. They were like $90 million under the cap, and they signed 13 free agents. I'm like, where's this money coming from? That's why I hate the stupid cap talk. I mean, everybody loves to argue about the cap. I'm like, it's real, but it's fake at the same time. That's why when John told me the thing about the cash, I'm like, okay, now this makes sense. It's one thing to say, hey, we have cap restrictions. You watch New Orleans, $90 million under. They're signing guys left and right. You watch the Eagles. They got everybody under contract. Jalen Hurts makes $60 million. His cap, it's like $18 million. It's fucking all funny. But you tell me, hey, we need more cash in the chamber to put in escrow for that Jalen Carter deal. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And the guys you're going to have to sign. Are you paying Cam Jurgens $18 million?
Based on what I'm hearing, the organization is 100% set on Cam Jurgens.
Okay. You're going to have $110 million in salaries
on the O-line.
4 of your 5 O-linemen. You know why? That's why the right guard position was not retained. Because that $10, $12 million is going to the center.
It's too much. Yep, it's going to the center or the defense.
Yeah,
Something's got to give in the future. Now, I don't think we have to have the conversation yet, but and Eagle fans don't want to admit this, but something's coming. Like
26.
You can't build this defense the way we've built it and keep, like Sileo just said, we have $110 million on the O-line. That's not even including your $60 million worth of receivers, your $55 million quarterback. Like something's got to give. So I do wonder what it's going to be in the future, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it unfolds.
$18 million for the center, 20 for the guard. 25 north of 25 million for both OTs. That goes back and probably why Goddard and the right guard are expendable because they have to figure out where they're going to be again. And think about this too when it comes to Dallas Goddard. This is probably why they're moving off him. I mean, how many games is it that he's lost? But I would throw this at you. You still have to, as a coordinator, defend him. Whether he gets 10 footballs or he gets one target. Because at any moment, how many times did you see in games last year when that guy had 2 or 3 catches that they were instrumental in moving the sticks, especially in the postseason, on how important he was? And that was an absolute important guy in that offense. But do you look at that and say, that's really just an expensive, that's really an expensive person and player to have when, quite frankly, we really don't utilize that position that much because they really don't throw across the middle of the field that much. That's not what Hurts does. Yeah. And that's what that player needs to do, and they don't go there. So is it wide receiver 3 and tight end and expendable along with the right guard? That's where they're saving money.
Absolutely.
Right?
They're going to do the same thing this year that they did with Jahan Dotson. They'll do the same thing for wide receiver 3 next year that they did a year ago with Jahan Dotson. They'll trade for a guy with 2 years left on his deal. They'll get a really cheap deal because they already ate up most of the signing bonus on the draft pick. And, Jahan Dotson costs us like $1 million a year. They're going to do the same thing there. Tight end, I think, is a little different. I really do, because you're running the football. And if you don't have if you don't have a guy that can block as a tight end, what are you taking away from what your offense does best? It's one thing to say, hey, we don't need a wide receiver 3. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, you don't really need one. It's another thing to say, hey, let's replace Dallas Goedert with Harrison Bryant and Kylan Granson. I don't know. That's not cutting it for me, especially when you talk about we want to double down on our running game. Yeah.
Expensive luxuries are tight end and nose tackle. Think about it.
Nose tackle is 100% a luxury.
Okay.
That's first world problems right there.
That's world championship problems.
That's world championship problems. Yeah. Can we pay this guy $18 million because we have too many other good guys on defense?
Hey, and like you said, that tight end is not just in the passing game. Dallas Goedert's value is in the passing game and the blocking game. Where are you going to get a multiple guy? You're signing 18 guys to try to fill the role of one guy.
I guess we're going to have more 12
Is it $15 million worth that?
They're going to have to do more 12 personnel because what are you going to have Grant Calcaterra in the blocking game? That dude couldn't block a traffic cone.
No, I completely agree. Look at this. So you're going to have to pay a guy, a nose tackle, $12 million, and the $15 million on a $27 million. The Eagles have to decide about having that expensive luxury on being able to have those guys on the team because they got to pay other players. Holy shit. Price of success, bro, just went through the roof.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, Nolan, couple last ones, then we'll get some of the supers here. Let me ask you this. How are you addressing Nolan Smith? You going to extend him?
When's he due? Next year? Yeah, with Carter, right?
Yeah.
This is why. I keep seeing people, I'm not buying that they didn't bring Gardner Johnson back for money. Well, there's always multiple reasons, but dude, I'm telling you right now, Jeffrey Lurie said, I need to have $200 million in the bank that I can put in escrow next season to pay our defense. Jalen Carter is going to get 4 years, $40 million a year with probably north of $100 million guaranteed. That money has to be there in escrow. So people are like, no, they didn't get rid of. No, they did. Believe me, the owner said, I don't want to put the $10 million to CJ and earn it back. I want to put that money away and make sure it's available for Jalen Carter next summer. And as you just mentioned, Now potentially Nolan Smith. What's Nolan Smith going to get? If Nolan Smith has 12 sacks this year, what's he going to get?
$28 million.
Exactly. What's he going to get guaranteed? Another $80 million? That's $880 million. And that's generous, I think, that you have to put in escrow next offseason. That's a lot of liquid cash, boys and girls. I don't know about you, Sills, but I would like to sniff $180 million.
Jesus criminy, man. I hear you. The amount of money and salaries where, I mean, like let's play the game where everything goes great. If Nolan Smith gets into this year and he has 12 sacks this season and he goes into where he has contract extension, the worst thing can happen to the Eagles is that Nolan Smith has 12 tackles, 12 sacks. Because then guess what? Then he's added to the mix of, what do I do with Davis? I know what I'm doing with Carter.
I know.
And then I got to deal
paying
with
Carter,
Dean.
and you're honestly, Sills, you're probably paying Nolan too. Let's be real.
Okay, well then, if Dean has 175 tackles this year and has 5 picks, what are you paying him?
Who?
N'Kobe Dean.
Oh, I don't know. 2 linebackers. Now you're paying 2 linebackers, a nose, a tackle, and an edge. Holy shit! Jeffrey Lurie's gonna sell a yacht. Holy shit!
Hey, what if that guy Q comes back next year, has 7 interceptions?
Yeah,
leads the NFL in interceptions.
$30 million. Who's the corner who just got $30 million?
The kid down in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah. Well, no.
Houston.
Houston.
Derek
Yeah,
Stingley.
Yeah, Derek Stingley. 3 years,
$30 million
a year.
30 a year. You really think the Eagles are going to start paying defensive players?
I don't know. They're either going to pay him or they're going to keep drafting them. I don't know, one or the other.
Or they're going to keep taking blowtorches to the team.
Look, this is Hugh Douglas on WIP. He's my favorite guy over there. All right, one of the few that I like on that station. Hugh Douglas, all the time. Offense is a necessity. Defense is a luxury. That's right. What he says, and he's not wrong.
Nope.
He's not wrong. Now, I do think they're going to identify guys that are you don't lose. Jalen Carter, for example. I don't care what you say about defense. They ain't letting Jalen Carter walk out the door. I would make a bet that actually Jalen Carter is the only guy on this team right now that I could see, and Jalen Hurts probably, starting and finishing his career in Philadelphia. I don't really see anyone else. Now, there's other guys who – Mulata's a great one. Lane Johnson obviously will be one when he retires. There are some others. I'm just saying, home runs, they're not letting Jalen Carter get out of the room. There's no way. There's no way in hell. I mean, Fletcher Cox finished his career. Brandon Graham finished his career. Jalen Carter will be finishing his career. But
here's the worst thing that can happen to the Philadelphia Eagle fans this year.
Is what?
Jalen Carter comes out and has 12 sacks this year, and that fucker has like 75 tackles, and he's just blowing everybody off the map. You're going to pay that guy $50 million, $45 million, bro. I mean, and then that's collateral damage to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. People say Smitty.
Bye, AJ.
People saying
Jalen Carter could be the end of AJ Smith's career in
AJ
Philly.
Brown. Well, listen, that's what I said a couple minutes ago. I'm not ready to talk about it yet because everybody's going to be back this year. But there's no doubt going to be decisions upcoming in the future, whether people are ready to admit it to themselves or not. You know, this offense, enjoy it now because it probably won't be like that forever.
That's a great position to be in, though. Remember I told you this before we get to the Supers. Remember I told you, keep an eye on your boy Jalen Milroe going to the Steelers. He was in Pittsburgh today, and on his pro day, he ran a 4.37.
I saw that. I know, but what's that doing for me? You know, I guess in the modern day where dual threat quarterbacks have really taken over the league, and I think it's a good thing. You know, I keep going back to that thing John Morgan said. I think he's spot on, man. And I think it's also a reason that so many rookie quarterbacks are playing so well now is because they have that ability to extend the play. So Jalen Milroe, I'm not for those who watch the show, they know I'm not the biggest fan because I'm an Alabama fan and he didn't quite get the job done at the University of Alabama. But I will say, I think he could work out in the NFL. I know that it might sound crazy. He didn't work out at Bama, but he will work out in the NFL. I could see it. I could see the right coach giving him the right system. He's got to get a little better in throwing the ball, more accuracy and stuff, a little bit, you know, It's almost like he needs to be more gun shy. Sometimes he slings it just in the wrong situations. But the right coach, I could see it, man. I could see it. I don't know if Pittsburgh's the one, but I mean, you just got DK Metcalf and you got George Pickens. You're going to give him Jalen Milroe?
Here, how about this? So he's 6'2", he's 220. He has a Cotton Bowl Classic. He's got a national championship ring. Played in the Sugar Bowl, played in the Rose Bowl, Senior Bowl. He's all SEC. Don't you think he had a better career than Jalen Hurts did? Jalen was the SEC player.
Jalen Hurts was SEC player of the year, his rookie year, freshman year. I don't know, 26-2 as a starter. Went to the national championship, lost. Went to the national championship again and won. Came back and beat the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship game when Tua got hurt with the hip injury. I don't know. Jalen had a storied career in Alabama, man.
This guy was the MVP in the SEC title game, beating number 1 ranked Georgia.
He never won a natty.
24.
Never won a natty.
Well, he's got a national championship ring. He was on that 22 team.
Well, he was on the 22 team, yeah, with Bryce Young. But,
yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Milroe is not my favorite, but I do think he could be good. How about this? This is a good take right here. All right. Josh Prout. He says Hurts boosted Milroe stock.
He
How
did.
About this, Josh? I'll go further. Hurts boosted every quarterback in the draft this year's stock because, as Sileo said, we haven't really had a dual threat guy win. All right. You haven't had a guy win recently in dual threat. Now you just watch Jalen Hurts throttle everybody on his way to a Super Bowl win. So I think Cam Ward stock went up. Shedeur Sanders stock went up. Dart, Milroe, everybody. All the dual threat guys who are coming up, I think everybody's stock was boosted because of Jalen Hurts' success.
I see Jamarcus Russell with Shedeur Sanders. The drought.
I know. I'm talking myself into him a little bit. You know what my thing is? I love athletes who are controversial like Deion was. I love that. I love that shit. I don't know why I do. I love a dude that has such a big swagger personality mentality that so many people shrivel up and cannot handle it. Oh my God, he has confidence. Oh my God, he's arrogant. Sometimes I love that shit. And now I'm starting to love Shedeur Sanders and talk myself into him because I'm like, shit, he's got Deion's genes. He's got swagger. He's got confidence. He believes in himself. I like it. Now we'll see, but I like it.
I wonder why now I know why you like me. All right. I get it now. Okay. Sure.
No, it's true though. I do like that shit, man. I like that. I like when the suits of the world, all the stooges, he's not supposed to do it that way. Fuck you. Not supposed to do it that way. I'll do it whatever way I want. You keep writing about it. All right. You keep talking about it. I'll keep.
What's this guy sound like? Holy shit. I love it, man. That's good stuff. You're right, man. Zander, that's good. All right, let's get to some of these supers here, man. So then we've got Philly 500 at the bottom of the hour, too.
Oh, shit.
So we'll get to him. Let's get to some of these supers here, brother.
I was talking to my boy 500 last night. YouTube's handling some stuff for us here. Elian, what's up, Elian? Elian Montemayor. Look at that name. I like it.
How you doing there, brother?
He says, do you think the Eagles would be interested in safety prospects, Andrew Makuba or Billy Bowman? I think they would. I just don't think they're going to use a top pick on.
No. If they take a safety, it'll be 3 to 5.
Yeah, I think the highest would be 3.
Yeah, 3 to 5. I think it's somewhere in there because, again, they're going to create – they love what they have on their roster. They want to create competition. And I believe, again, Zander, like I said, it's clear to me where they're going in the draft in the first 2 picks. They're going D-line, tackle or edge, and tight end. I mean, you said it perfectly today. Hey, just because they brought in all these edge rushers and these tight end guys, that's not going to procure them from going into the draft and get it. To me, it's more of a signal on where they're going in the draft for them to be able to go in there and go. They're telling you they brought so many edge rushers in. They're not sure what they have yet. They want to create competition. They're going to draft a guy there too.
Yeah. No, you're probably right. I like the 3 guys you mentioned the other day on the show. The 3 position groups, at least tackle, edge, and offensive lineman. I think
that's where I think that 32nd pick, if they don't move up or out, I think that's where they are in those three groups.
Bob Brown, the legend. Yo, Bob, thank you, brother. Member for 24 months.
Brother.
Look at that, man. That's 2 years of membership on JAKIB Sports. Bob Brown, we love you. We appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. One of our smartest, best viewers here on JAKIB Sports. He says, Sills, I know it's a different sport, but in baseball, they pay closers closer pay closers more than $18 million to come in 1 to 2 times a week for 1 or 2 outs. They are specialists. Davis is our closer to the running game. Well, I agree, Bob. Baseball's got unlimited pocketbooks, man.
Yeah, that difference in baseball, though, that money's guaranteed, man. I mean,
it's unlimited. You can pay as many people as you want.
Right, that's right. It's all about the rich. If you have a great TV network like the Yes Network with the Yankees,
the
Yes Network allows the Yankees to pay Judge all that money, and they can go out and sign a guy for $300 million.
Now, right?
Tomcats too with the Phillies, they got a great deal with them. People don't realize that they got a great deal. I mean, even the SNY Network with the Mets on how they were able to sign Soto. They were able to sign him because they've got that extra resources. You think the Cincinnati Reds have that? You're right. There's no cap in that. Now, they have a luxury tax that if you go over a luxury tax that you have to pay, but baseball has unlimited numbers and unlimited pockets when it comes to spending the money out there too. So, but I get your point. And here, I talked myself into it last night watching him play. The majority of the time, the Eagles were in 3rd and 2. I mean, they were 3rd and 2, 3rd and 2. They kept opposing teams in 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. If it wasn't for Jordan Davis, like we said last year, if he plays less, that means you're 3rd and long. Okay?
Yeah, it means if Jordan Davis plays less, it means Jordan Davis is playing good.
That's right.
It's weird.
That's right. And you're a nickel.
I know.
And your chances of them competing 3rd and 11, not going to happen. So isn't it funny? You got to look at him inside out almost.
Yeah. It's true. It's a good point. This guy says, so why didn't the Yanks give Ohtani $1 billion? Smitty, don't get me started on the Yanks. They made basically every wrong decision in the last couple of years. I don't know what they're doing. Let me
tell you about Shohei Ohtani in Japan. Holy fuck, is he great.
I don't know why the Yankees didn't sign Soto. What the fuck?
I know, man.
Wait a second. You have a roster that's like 33 now, and you have a guy that's 25, 26 years old who can take the baton in New York, and you let him sign with the fucking Mets?
Let me tell you, wasted too. It's a waste with New York Mets. Let me say this again. Just because your last name is Steinbrenner doesn't mean you're George.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, same thing with Jeannie Buss. Hey, her last name may be Buss, but that ain't Dr. Jerry Buss. The Lakers ain't the same. That Yankee organization, do you want to hear something with that fucking guy, Brett Boone, who's the manager of that team? That fucker's he's got an under 500 record in the postseason. What do you think the boss would have done with that guy? He'd have been fired 7 years ago.
I know.
Same thing with Brian Cashman. Brian Cashman ran that thing into the toilet. How do you let that guy how do you let even a guy like Manny Machado 5 years ago, how do you let him not come to New York? Why? Because you didn't want to deal with Angelo down in Baltimore? They do not run that organization like they used to run it.
No, they're not.
It's not a destination.
I agree. Dio checks in. What's up, Dio? Davis, $18 million average per year is $7 to $13 million on the cap. First year will be lower, like Devontae Smith deal. Yeah, I'm not really talking about that though, Dio. You're still gonna have to. It's about the cash, dude. We just gave you the deals. Think about how much cash. If you pay Davis $18 million, you're gonna have to give him $35 million in cash. Nolan Smith, you're gonna have to give minimum in cash in escrow. People don't understand. When you guarantee a contract, you don't wait to pay that money. You got to have the money liquid today.
Yeah, because
that's a lot of millions of dollars you're talking about.
You know what the Spanos family used to try to do? The Spanos family would say they have a signing bonus of $700,000 for you. You know what they would do? They would put it into an equity account for them, create the interest on it, keep the interest, and use your money that was owed to you to create interest to knock that number down. And the NFL Players Association said, no way. So you're right. So when Zander tells you next year, when they have to have $100 million, that $100 million that money they paid Hurts is sitting in an account somewhere earning interest, okay, for Jalen, not for the owner. That's how that works.
Here we go. Crowley, what's up, Crowley? Member for 7 months. Appreciate you,
Crowley.
Brother. Crowley says, Sills, that right there is why I want the Eagles to draft Walter Nolan, then edge in the second round. If the Eagles have a good front, the secondary is okay. It's a good take.
What I would do, Crowley, is this. If I see 3 or 4 guys that I'd like, I'd trade out of that 32 and move down into the second and get both my guys I want in a second round with cheaper money and not paying first-round money. That's what I would do. Okay, because I think when you get Jackson Dart and you get some of these other guys, shit, there could be another quarterback. We're not even talking. Milroe might sneak in to the first round. You're praying, if you're the Eagles, you're praying Jalen Milroe gets drafted in the first round. You're praying for that because that means more good players roll down to you. Okay? I mean, you want that to happen. You want all those teams. Yeah. Do you think he'd go up to get 2-3 places to get a guy if he sees him that he really likes?
Definitely.
Guy?
Think about it, dude. They're relying on picks right now. So if they like a guy, they're going to take one of those extra fifths and thirds or whatever, package it up and go and get a guy that they like. I think there's no doubt about that. Rashid Mixon checks in. What's up, Rashid? Hope you're doing well, brother. This is where the $17 million tied up in Huff hurts, $34 million guaranteed. Yeah, the good news about that, though, is that's off the books next year. So after this season, you're going to be moving on, and that's when you're really paying the guys on the defense. You're right, it probably hurt for contracts this year, though.
Let me tell you, if you don't have Bryce Huff on that contract, you're probably bringing back Sweat or Milton. Don't you agree? Probably Milton.
No, I don't.
17 million?
I don't agree.
That's 2 years. That's this year and next year.
They weren't ever paying those two guys though because they didn't think they were the core guys, and they already
pay one guy 17, $2 million. You $2 million less than what the guy got in Arizona. That's not a lot of difference.
No, it's not. But the timing this year was worse than last year.
Maybe the timing.
All right, I think we got them all. Let me just answer one guy.
That's
Trag
good,
says, "Is dude even ready for an extension?" What's up, Trag? Why are we talking numbers for JD? Trag, he's up, bro. So right now they have a decision by May, I believe.
Yeah, they can address it right now.
Yeah, so they're normally, Trag, the reason behind the conversation is normally the Eagles don't pick up fifth-year options because you can't manipulate the cap number. So normally, like they did with Devontae Smith, they'll pick up the option and then work a deal out. And if they did pick up the option, it would be a placeholder for a deal to get done. So look out. Jordan Davis' numbers could come in really any day. I mean, we're talking about right now for Jordan Davis. So he is up. He is up for an extension for sure.
I can't believe I talked myself into him. But
Goat says at this point, you're skipping my comments. Go. We ain't skipping you, brother. We ain't skipping you. We love you, bro.
You don't have a 34 without a nose. You can't play that. You can't play a 34
without. You talked yourself into paying it then.
Yeah.
Okay, so who are you moving on from?
Bro, if you're going to play a 34, you have to have a Vita Vea, a Lawrence, something like that. Because if you can't stop the run, Zander, you're going to be 3rd and 2 the whole time. That means Jordan Davis didn't do his job.
Yeah. Dude,
these teams are moving the sticks on you.
If the defense can't stop the run, forget about it. You don't win Super Bowls if you can't stop the run. You can't. So
you can make the argument that he is the 3rd most important player on your defense between Carter, your corner, and also your nose. Because without either of those three, you got away with not having an elite pass rusher. You didn't get away with not having a good corner, a good tackle, and a guy who helped in the run. You didn't get away with that. By the way, I heard you say something. And to me, that's a great question. Are you going to leave Q over there at CB2 and leave CB1 to Keely Ringo? That's a fucking mistake.
Yeah, well, John said he thinks they're going to move Quignon.
Okay.
Yeah, John said he thinks they're going to move him.
Whole different technique, but I think he's good enough. He showed that shit. They were playing him sometimes at the nickel.
Yeah, I think he's good, man. I'm not worried about Quignon at all. I think
so. You're going to put Keely over at 2.
You're gonna put Quignon where Slay was.
Okay, and so Keely Ringo's wide receiver 2. I mean, quarterback 2.
Cornerback, yep, yeah. I could see that. I like Keely Ringo. What we got to say, but I like him. I mean, I like the potential of him, but there's that word, and you hate that word, and I'm not allowed to bring that word up on your show because I get roasted every time I do.
Hey,
the guy's got potential. Let's see if he can live up to it.
Yeah, potential means I ain't done shit. Would you be interested in a Goddard and Huff? Stop with the Huff trade. Huff has no value.
Huff has zero value. I don't know what people don't understand about this. Just because You trade in the contract. This is why you don't get a fourth overall pick for A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is probably better than someone you're going to draft at fourth overall, but nobody is sending you the fourth overall pick for a $32 million wide receiver. Nobody is doing that. That doesn't make sense for an NFL team. Same thing with Bryce Huff. You're not acquiring Bryce Huff for a fourth or fifth or sixth round pick and then taking on his contract. You're not doing that. Nobody. Bryce Huff's value is a future seventh, a future sixth, like 2027.
Next year.
I think Howie would go even longer like he did with Reddick.
Okay. I mean, because unless Howie was going to eat half that salary, then you start talking about maybe moving. But then again, remember something.
Huff will be better this year because they
signed him off the street.
Huff will be better this year.
Okay, John.
Dude, he can't be worse. He legitimately can't be worse.
I'll tell you this. Here's another guy. You play him less, he might be better.
Yeah, third downs.
Yeah.
Go get the quarterback.
Yeah, go hit the quarterback. Right.
But you can't do that. Holy shit. We really fucked up.
Oh, man. I tell you. Hey, that Jordan Davis thing, man, made me think last night and even more so today. Dude, that guy is essential in having Vic's defense. So great stuff, Zander. I mean, I'm sure you'll be on later on. I'm sure Howie's going to do something today. I don't know, man. I mean, hey, I love listening to Lane. I love listening to Lane today.
Yeah, I didn't hear all of Lane. I was running wild, but in the midday here today. But
yeah, I'm going to comment.
I heard Bond. I'm going to go back and listen to Lane tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna comment on that. We're going to get Philly 500 coming up here in a second. Zander, great stuff. We will catch you tomorrow morning, my friend.
Appreciate you, Sills. Love all you guys. Hit that like button. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you, Sills.
You got it. You bet, Big Z. I appreciate you doing that here. Don't forget, make sure you do that and check it out here, man. I'll tell you what, I said this. I said this about Brandon Graham. You know, a guy like Philly 500, I see his posts all the time, and I see his videos and such that he makes all the time. And you know what you do? You can always tell with him, guys who have had impact that people move the needle. Brandon Graham was one of those guys. You see, an NFL Hall of Famer, I pointed out to you that there's so many great football players that have played in this league that he's probably not an NFL Hall of Famer. However, Brandon Graham has made his mark in the league. And you know how he did that? With Eagle fans. 15 years from now, you'll remember him. 15 years from now, you'll never remember the name Hassan Reddick. You have no idea who he is. But you'll remember a name like that. Okay, there'll be so many players that have played. You won't even remember Mekhi Becton. But you'll remember Lane Johnson. There's guys like that resonate with fans. So without further ado, a guy who does a spectacular job, and we appreciate him every single time that he comes on the program. By the way, you know one thing Big Sills does. We're getting some of the biggest names in Philadelphia.